invitation.
Boy, everybody got quiet. I'm Criger. I'm running in this election as an independent candidate because I believe that our political parties no longer serve the best interest of Canadian people. They are more interested in their own self-preservation. I was going to give you a speech that I have written out, but I'm not going to do that because I don't think it is what you really want to hear from your classes. I did notice, though, when I came in, there are Aboriginal dream catchers and stuff like that out there. Who here identifies as Aboriginal First Nations? Okay, I do as well. I'm Cayuga, Six Nations from Brantford. Who here knows about Sir Isaac Brock, the Battle of Queenston Heights? You're taking that in history, right? You know what happened at that time. I have forefathers who fought at the Battle of Queenston Heights, and they fought in every major battle from there to Detroit for a land called Canada at that time. As an independent, I have decided to stand up and fight for a country called Canada today. I am no different than you, or you, or you, or you. When you get older, which won't be very long now for most of you, any one of you can be standing here running to go to Parliament, because the people in Ottawa are no different than you or I. People in Ottawa are no different than you or I. They want you to believe that they know how to make all the proper decisions for you. They do not. They are working mostly on what their party leaders tell them to do. They are not there to do what you and your family want you to do. This election is a major election in our country because there's a lot of turmoil, a lot of things that people don't like. This is the opportunity for you and your family to get together, discuss it with your parents, come to the conclusion that you know will work for you. And then what you have to do is pick the right person that you believe will actually go to Ottawa and stand up and do what you want that person to do. Not what some party leader tells you they have to do or how they have to vote for legislation. It's time we all stand up and look after ourselves first. Thank you.
Is this working? Hi, okay, good. Well, I'm Cheryl Gallant, and first of all, I want to thank Mrs. Montgomery, who's a teacher here, for what she did to make sure I got here, and the lovely invitation from all your teachers. Mrs. Montgomery has told me time and time again what wonderful students there are here, and I certainly enjoyed reading the paper when her classes from here at Champlain Discovery have won something or even participated in the Kiwanis Music Festival. I feel proud too when I see how well you have done. And so, as I mentioned, my name is Cheryl Gallant. I'm the Conservative candidate for Renfrew-Nipissing-Pembroke. And Renfrew-Nipissing-Pembroke is the name of our riding. So on election night, if you're up that late, you can watch on the screen and you'll see that when Renfrew-Nipissing-Pembroke comes up, you'll be able to count the votes and see who's winning. Now, Conservative, that's the name of our party. And the root word of Conservative is conserve. We believe, and when we were government, that we shouldn't throw out things we don't need. We shouldn't waste things like electricity. We should conserve when we have taxes and everything. We also believe that government should be careful and conserve the money that the government is watching for the people. So we do what is necessary, but leave as much of the freedom in the people's hand as possible. So, federal government, does anybody know what it's responsible for? Yes? What is it responsible for? That's right. National defense and protecting Canadians is the most important job of the federal government. Now, we also have different rules that we take care of, and when it comes to what we just talked about, conservation, we also have ways to ensure that we're protecting our air, our water, and our land. But the best way to conserve and protect the air we breathe, the land, and the water is to ensure that we're not using more energy that's going to be wasted in one way or another. So if you conserve, you're not wasting, and not only that, but your parents save money. So how many people turn off the lights whenever they're leaving a room that they're not going to use? Oh, great, so we got lots of conservationists. What about an apple core? Do you throw it in the garbage? Or where does it go? Green bin. Now, one of the major things parents have to pay for is to keep your house warm in the wintertime. And if it's leaky or cold, then they have to use more wood or more gas or whatever way you're heating your house. So what our party is going to do is, it costs money to make your house warm and insulated. So we're going to provide some money to families to make sure the houses stay warm as possible so they don't have to spend as much on bills. That way there'll be more money for things that you like to do, like having nice food on the table, making sure you have breakfast and lunch every day. So that's a little bit of what we're doing for conservation. Now, how many people go to their hunt camp in November for the deer hunt? Anybody go to the hunt camp? Okay. So anybody like fishing? So with the hunting and the fishing, do you just throw it back, or how many people eat what they catch or what they hunt? Yeah. When I was young, the way we had food to eat, meat and fish, was because my dad was a hunter and a fisherman. We got to fish too. So it was good to have a chance to have that kind of food on the table. Well, it's too bad you're not voting right now. You're not old enough to cast a ballot. Because right now, what one of the parties has said, wait a second, your name again is? Justin. So, not all people who live in big cities understand that we who live in more rural areas don't buy all our food from the grocery store. We like the healthy food that we hunt and we fish. So, what he's going to do is stop people from allowing them to have the guns that you want to use. And he's restricting fishing and that type of thing. So, that's kind of control. And if you were voting in this election, you'd have an opportunity to decide whether or not you like the idea of not being able to hunt and do the things you love, or maybe you feel the other way, but it would be your choice. So the other thing that is interesting is there seems to be, even as it applies to food, a big concern about people who eat meat. How many people like to have meat? Okay, so the government says that eating meat is contributing too much to climate change. So the government and other parties want to phase out eating meat, whereas the conservatives, we believe in freedom and that farmers have a right to farm. We don't want the government providing our food. We don't want something that comes in a box. We want to be able to buy real food that farmers grow, and milk. Milk isn't a bad thing. Some people are allergic to it, but milk gives us butter, and it employs a lot of people. Now the other thing we're going to do, how many people have heard about the price of gas and how much it's going up? Okay. Well, the very first thing we're going to do is get rid of that carbon tax, because it not only increases the price every time your mom and dad go to fill up the gas tank, but all the other trucks that move food throughout the country, take the oranges and the things we can't get in wintertime, bring it up to Canada. Once they get to Canada, they got to pay more for fuel. And what do you think that does to the price when it gets into the grocery store? Higher, yes. So when you have to pay more for food, either you end up going without, going with less, or having to give up something else. So that's why we're getting rid of the carbon tax, because all it does is gives people permission to pollute. What we will do is take real action. Stop people from putting the poo and pee into our water systems. You know the Ottawa River? Who likes to swim in the Ottawa River? Right, so we don't want sewage and waste going into the Ottawa River. We're going to bring in rules to make sure you can't do that. The air. Well, what about the price of gas? And carbon tax keeps the air clean. No, what keeps air clean is developing technology and having engines that run more efficiently, so not as much of that garbage is going into the air. Anybody have a father or mother who is a trucker? Yeah, so you know how much an engine costs every time they have to replace that engine. It used to cost $50,000, now it's like $75,000, so the cost of that goes up. Anyhow, so we've got that, and the land. We want to keep the land clean. So everyone knows where the garbage goes after it's taken from the side of the road. Where does it go? Goes into a dump. So what we want to do is develop ways, continue to develop ways, and there are some really innovative ways to reduce what is going into these dumps, do different things with them, so that maybe not only are we getting rid of the waste, but we're creating energy at the same time. So that makes electricity a lot less expensive. So those are a few things that we're going to do. How much time do I have? 1 minute. Okay. So I'm just going to let you be parliamentarians for 1 minute. And I'm going to try and be even here. Okay, so everybody, just move a second, from here on in, you're going to be the government. And the government, you're going to have two parties, the control party and the freedom party. Okay, which party do you want to be in? No choice, you're there. Okay, and you're in the control party too. Okay. So this is a vote. The control party is the government, and we're going to vote because what they want to do is, for the sake of our experiment here, our vote, they want to do is take as much of your money as possible. If you work or whatever, you get a pension, and then give the people what they think they need. The Freedom Party will take what it needs to run the military and other necessary things that only government can do, but they think that you are the best decision makers for what you do with your money. Okay, so we've got the party, the government party who wants to take as much and waste a lot of it, or we have the Freedom Party that wants you to keep as much as possible in your own pockets to spend the way you see fit. So, now we're going to do the vote. And the government, since this is a government provision, we're going to let the government vote. The government puts forth the vote, and they have to vote in favor of what their rule is. So, how many people want the government to take as much of their money as you'll allow, and then give you what they think you need in order to... Very good. 1, 2, 3, 4... I don't have a table officer to do the official counting, so we got about 6. Okay, everyone who thinks that the money as Canadians is better spent in your own pockets and only give the government what it needs to do its job. Oh, okay, very good. All right, well that was our experiment. If I'm allowed to come to your class again, we'll do more of the role playing as members of Parliament. And again, thank you for the invitation. I usually do this for every civics class, so it's a pleasure to finally come here.
Hello, my name is Stefan Klietsch, and I'm a Libertarian candidate for the upcoming election here in Renfrew-Nipissing-Pembroke. This is my 3rd time seeking office in the riding, and this is my 2nd time actually running in a federal election. Like all of you, when I was a child, I was here in Renfrew County. I didn't grow up in Pembroke, but I grew up in the countryside outside of the town of Renfrew, and I went to public school there by the name of Admaston Public School. So one of my biggest motivations for running for office is that we have a political system that's very difficult for young people like yourselves and even young adults. It's quite difficult for single persons to make a difference in our democracy. Now, Canada, you're quite lucky to grow up here in Canada, because Canada is one of the best countries in the world, and it's one of the best places on our planet to live. But the more you learn about Canadian democracy, you learn a lot about the privileges and freedoms that it offers to us, but you also learn about many problems that our democracy has. There are people in all the major political parties. There are people who are in power or positions of leadership, who are at the top and who have a lot of control. And a lot of these people, they don't take disagreements very well. They give you a hard time if you criticize them, if you suggest that they're making a mistake or that they're doing something wrong. And unfortunately, the only way to deal with difficult people in positions of power over your lives is to pay all the more attention to what they're doing, hold them to account, speak out, read the newspapers, watch the news, and keep pushing and persisting until they relent and compromise in the face of disagreements. Now, about the Libertarian Party. The Libertarian Party is a party that strongly believes in individual the liberty and freedom of citizens like yourselves. So a lot of what the Libertarian Party is about is your freedom to buy and sell with your fellow citizens or other people like yourself. And there's a lot of certain government laws that create that make it difficult for you to do that. And I'm also running for the Libertarian Party because the Libertarian Party, more so than the major political parties, doesn't have a leader that's so difficult to express disagreements with. And the Libertarian Party lets me run for them while letting me be an honest person who speaks what I think. A lot of our major political parties, when you run as a candidate for them, they expect you to shut up and not think like a person with ideas of your own. And because I'm a young person, I'm 28 years old. I like to think of myself as someone who cares a lot about the distant future of Renfrew-Nipissing-Pembroke and of young people like yourselves. So I'm concerned about the proposed nuclear waste dump that might be built 1 kilometer away from Chalk River, because there's the possibility of nuclear radiation getting into our Ottawa River and affecting your drinking water. I also believe that we need to change the laws that govern our politicians and our candidates for office so that they're more accountable, easier to watch, easier to pay attention to, easier to criticize, and more easily affected by any one of you speaking out. I believe we need to have more members of Parliament, each representing fewer constituents, so that, to interrupt myself, you all enjoy the privilege of hearing your local candidates speak to you today. But quite a lot of people never meet their local MPs, so they vote for these political parties without really knowing what kind of people make up those parties. We need to change this by having more MPs, making lower salaries, and sorry, this is off the cuff. I don't have a script. I'm not belonging to a very major political party. And as said, I plan to run in every single federal election until I'm elected. So I'm hoping that 8 years from now, you'll consider voting for me then. I'll certainly appreciate any support in the student ballot. And I hope that each and every single one of you vote in this student election. And I hope that when each of you turn 18 years old, will vote in the federal, you'll vote then too. And I hope that you'll keep watching our politicians, keep watching what your local candidates say to you. And I hope you'll keep watching whether your politicians are interested in protecting your liberty and your freedom, your health, your environment, and your prosperity. Thank you for listening.
Hello, good morning. My name is Dheerendra Kumar.
Renfrew-Nipissing-Pembroke Regional Hospital as a full-time physiotherapist. I'm on leave of absence to do my election campaign, and my election campaign is not very big one, it's a small one, short and sweet. I don't belong to any political party. That means I don't have any affiliation with them. I belong to you, I belong to your parents, I belong to your neighbors, I belong to the community members. I immigrated from India in 2009 under the skill category. So you need to have a certain qualification. That qualification should be in the high demand in Canada. You need to apply, you need to pay your fee, and you have to wait for so many years. I was lucky enough, I got my everything done in 6+ years. Some of my friends, they got their paperwork done, it took 9 years. But here you will see some people crossing the New York border, coming to the Quebec and claiming to become Canadian. You know, they're called illegal immigrants. So there is a difference between the illegal and the legal, and I'm very sure you know that because you are very smart people. My son is of your age, he's in grade 9, and he's a very smart guy, and I can see you people are equal to or better than him in so many respects. So my election agenda is stop illegal immigration. We are paying millions of dollars and may turn to be billions of dollars, and you know where money is going to come from? You will be paying that money, not only your parents or grandparents. You will be paying that money, and not only for few years but so many years. That's not good. We need that money to reduce the tuition fee once you go to the college, once you go to the university. You know your teachers, you see your teachers every day. You know, it takes 6 years to become a teacher. 6 years to become a teacher. And after doing the teacher's training course, completing from the university, they have to wait on an average 4 years in Ontario. And we are the nice place, believe me. Some provinces, they are not even as good as we are. Still they wait for 4 years. So just imagine, you have to go to the Ottawa, Queens, or Nipissing to do your teacher's training and wait for 4 years. By the time you complete your course, you have 150,000 in debt. You don't have job, you don't have, if you don't have job, what do you have? After doing 6 years of course, you are doing an odd job which give you minimum wage. That's the wastage of resource. Who is responsible for that? Not the independent candidate, but the party which is in power. The party which was in the power. And you have to think, why I am talking to you? Because I want you to go home, talk to your parents, talk to your grandparents, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, and ask them which candidate you are voting and why. Why you are voting this candidate? Why you are not voting for a candidate B or C or D? That's very important. We need more long-term care beds in our community. We don't have that. People are waiting 3 to 5 years to go to the long-term care bed. I don't know how many of you have a grandparents who are waiting to go into the long-term care bed. Anybody? Anybody have grandparents who are willing to go to the long-term care home, retirement home? Okay, thank you. So they have to literally wait for a long time. My next agenda is there. We need more funding for mental health services everywhere in Canada. We don't have that. We don't have a qualified psychiatrist who is going to help this group of people to get the treatment. We need funding, we need resources. We have the resources. We have so many qualified people with the PhD, doctorate, postdoctoral qualification in their specialization, but we need to fix a program where, say for example, for 1 year they can go, they can train, and they can get their license, and they can help us in